That's how your mood too. I came on here today because I wanted to talk about that I am dating with attention now. Dating at this age, you think walking into something is very different. You think, okay, yes, we're grown now. And I always feel like at this age, people may have it together. This is my year of responsibilities, I call it, where I am like also my second half of my life is turning 50 years old in November of last year. And finding to have this choose your own adventure type attitude, expectation on life that I am like so wholeheartedly fulfilling and embracing. And so in the past, I've had long-term relationships and of course broke up with the long-term relationships. And those are like also grieving processes in themselves. And we'll talk about that a little bit more too as well. But what I've noticed is that we all been through something that we've learned, right? Something. Surely I know everyone out here is operating with a little bit more sense, a little bit more accountability, a little bit more honesty. And then you actually get out here, and I'm talking about like with this dating and touching, and you realize some people aged, but they did not grow. And this is a very important distinction because you're going to meet people your age who are still doing things you thought were reserved for people in their 20s and their 30s. Ghosting, for one. You know what I'm talking about? One day they're here and next day, voila, nothing, no explanation, no conversation, just gone. And at our age, with our grown lives gone, and then and there's a manipulation, the coercing, the subtle pressure to be who they need you to be. You know, before you even before they even taking the time to find out who you are as an actual person. I'm taking a deep breath because I consider myself a sapiosexual, and I'm sure people know what that is. It's like a drive of intellect. Anytime I meet people, it doesn't matter if it's someone that I took interest in or even a casual conversation. I always talk about that as a whole because those are qualities that you look for in people. I do know the whole like you are loving them and loving and vice versa. But when it comes to like the ghosting and the coercion and the manipulation, I guess I just get kind of confused because I am a talker and I like to get it back to me, but also I'm very transparent when it comes to when I'm walking and talking and dealing with people that I'm getting to know. And so I really feel like when it comes to disappearing all of a sudden, why you just couldn't tell me, Why you just couldn't say how you really felt, generally? Because part of your thought you left the world behind and you're walking back into it at this certain age, I feel it can make you feel like no, wait. It can make you, feel like, you think you know stuff. But did you learn anything? Any of this was ever taught, And here's how I know sometimes it's not taught or you just don't care because it's not accountability. And, you know, I tell people all the time, we play a long game and stuff. And when it comes to wanting something and needing something. It's about asking. This vast world we live in now, people are dating more than one person. People have two wives, two husbands, whatever the case may be. You just know what people are into. If you don't ask, you don't talk. So I wanted to kind of and I know this is like all over the place, but I am enjoying this conversation as I'm saying it because I am in this space now, like I said, where I am looking to get out there more. And why I'm having this conversation today is because for a while, and I have two good friends who have really sat down and spoke to me and was like, I put a lot of not meeting other people on hold, being a career girl, being, in a place where I'm like, okay, when you're used to having a certain type of relationship and you go out here and you're like disappointed, it's like, what do you do? What do you say? And it's like, disappointing when you have high standards for people and then they let you down. And it happens more than once. And after a while, you're like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna step back. And it's pretty literally on a totem pole when you are a person that likes to be challenged in conversation, that likes to be thought of, and likes to be a part of some kind of, relationship. I'll say it in that sense. And you don't get that. It doesn't happen. And when, you get to know a person, you don't spend 6 months explaining away red flags anymore. You see something that doesn't sit right, and instead of talking yourself out of these instances, you go, note it, and you move accordingly. That's growth. That's what experiencing actually looks like in real time. So now let me talk about the other side because I don't, it's not always just like, ghosting and coercing because it's not all exhausting. Some of it's actually really good. Dating with attention at my age, when you do it on your own terms, is a completely different experience than anything you've done before because you're not out here auditioning. I know I'm not. You're not shrinking yourself to be more appealing. You're not pretending to be okay with things that are not okay. You know what you bring to the table, and you know what you need in return. And you're not in a rush to settle for less just to not be alone. Your time is valuable, and you know it. And that changes everything about how you show up. Now, I want to be real with you about something. Breakups are grieving processes. I know I went through a long-term relationship and broke up, and, it took a while for me to get back into the saddle of things. It doesn't matter if there's no abuse, no traumatic ending. Losing a long-term relationship, even one you knew had to end, even one you chose to leave, it's still a loss. And it deserves to be treated like one. You don't have to perform like you're fine before you're actually fine. And when you do get back out there, and you absolutely will, you know, um, and when you're ready, you might find yourself doing something unexpected. You might find yourself getting, you know, reacquainted with yourself. You know, what you actually like. How do you actually want to spend your time? What actually fills you up versus what you were just, used to. And that part is everything. And I think that that's where I'm at. Like, I am not just going to settle for a one-sided deal. You know, that person who has that, that's them. And that's what they're part of. Because sometimes we spend so long in relationships that we forget we have preferences. Or we forget we have opinions about small things. When we want to eat, what we want to do, I want to sleep in all day versus maybe you want to go out. Religious aspects, culture aspects, who we are in our space and for how long, because when we're so used to being in one space by ourselves and we finally cohabitate with someone that we actually care about, it's about getting back to those small things that like those little acts of self-knowing, is one of the quiet gifts that I know I'm going through in this season. Dating right now is like bingo to me. Oh my God. Wow. I love the game bingo. Wow. Okay. It's like bingo to me. You put your numbers out there, you pay attention, you stay in the game, and when the right number hits, you'll know. It won't be forced. It'll be copacetic. It won't feel like hard work. You'll be your true, authentic self. And that person will be just as much compatible to you as you are to them. It will feel so natural, like right, real right. It's like something you didn't have to convince yourself of. And then so then enjoy the process. You stay observant. Let people show you who they are and you believe them the very first time. You don't overinvest in potential. You invest in what actually is in front of you. You meet people, you see where they're at, you see where things go. If someone is making you feel valued, woohoo, and seen and genuinely feel beautiful and good, you hold on to them. You know, um, you evolve from that. And that is worth your time. If they are not, you close that tab, skedaddle, I love that word. Gracefully though, without drama, without the paragraph, without trying to explain yourself, but tell them, don't just ghost them. Like that has happened, and it's like I think I give you enough rope to know that I am a pretty approachable person. To explain stuff to someone who has never really listened to you anyway, that's what you get from that. 'Cause when you leave a person, I make my own scenario up. I'm gonna, of course, say, because I know I'm dope. I'm not saying I'm the best person in the world, but I know that these qualities I'm saying out here now is what I portray in relationships. Because your time, your actual time, is one of the most important, valuable things you have right now. And if you get to decide who deserves it, that's an entire vibe check. An entire vibe check. I wanted to ask two questions because this was on my mind as I was talking. Are you dating because you genuinely want to, or because you feel like you're supposed to be right now? And when someone showed you a red flag early, how quickly do you believe what you're seeing? I feel like I have something else I want to say to that. Are you still holding yourself accountable to standards that someone else set for you a long time ago? If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm LaKenya Tam. This is the poem LaKenya Tam. If you are not, hello, thank you for being here. This is just something that I wholeheartedly wanted to do for a long time. And now that I am in the motions of meeting amazing people on my path, wanted to bring this out here. Now, love to know the answers to those questions. And if you're dating now, or if you're wanting to date, or what's hindering you from dating, this is a total vibe check.